Constitution. It is therefore no surprise that Justice Yusuf Halilu of the High Court in Abuja awarded 100 million naira damages against the News Agency of Nigeria for publishing libelous news story against Prophet Emmanuel Omale of the Divine Hand of God Prophetic Ministries, Abuja. In the judgment, the court ordered NAN to publish a public apology to Prophet Omale in 3 national newspapers with online visibility. BKO, let's begin with you on this development. What do you make of this? How do you see this panning out?
Well, I think it's justice for Prophet Omale. Remember, he also got justice in similar fashion against the FCMB, which posted 540 million into the account of his church in error. There was a computer glitch. They claimed that they were working on their IT stuff, and then that mistake happened. But that was all that a government agency needed to alert the presidency and all who cared, you know, all other stakeholders, that Magu's best friend has had this kind of money posted into his account. Oh, he's the one that launders money for Magu and all that nonsense. At that time, when some of us said, look, it's not possible for Magu to steal money the way they are saying it, they thought we were fools. Some of my friends, my best friends, called me and said, stop defending this man. No Nigerian can be trusted. Oh, absolute rubbish. There are Nigerians who can be trusted in any situation to never collect bribe. There are Nigerians that in any situation, you can't get them to go against their conscience. They would rather invite God to take their lives. It's not everybody that is corrupt. The people who are corrupt and who can hardly get by without demonstrating their corrupt disposition believe that every Nigerian is corrupt. This is a lie from the pit of hell. It's not every Nigerian that is corrupt. So when Magu was accused, this is his friend and spiritual mentor. They felt that he was laundering money for Magu, and News Agency of Nigeria was one of the media outlets that ran the story. And of course, this man went to court and he won. He won, and the judge said, pay him 50 million in aggravated damages and another 50 million in general damages. What we know is that in the end, they will start begging this, but you've damaged somebody's name. Many people out there believe that, oh, Magu is a thief. Oh, the Professor Omale is a thief. They didn't believe us at that time when we said these things cannot be true. Now you run a story, you are all over the place begging. That's what the bank did. The bank was forced to apologize in national newspapers to say, look, this was an error. But the damage had been done. The man's good name had been damaged. And a decision had been taken based on that transfer. As far as they are concerned, that transfer really exposed Magu for the thief that he is. Oh, that transfer kind of deconstructed Magu as a fighter against corruption. But it was a mistake from the bank, which the bank rectified quickly. But then it was already, the damage had been made. The government agency that is mandated to report such already reported. Magu, this and that. Magu's man. After all, when Magu was ill and he went for an operation in Dubai, this was the same prophet who went to pray for him. You know all those things, putting 2 and 2 together on top of falsehood. People have to be made to pay. Everyone fancies himself as a journalist in the age that we find ourselves. People who have not gone through any kind of training, they wear suits, they sit on TV talking absolute rubbish. And they call themselves journalists. You have no sense of filtration, because in journalism, you must learn filtration. Media houses are going around behaving as if they do not even have gatekeepers anymore. That was not how we were brought up. You have to check. And if you are not sure, then don't publish. That's what we are told. But people will just go to press, publish, all the online outlets will pick it, and then an innocent man is made to look like a fool. At the end of the day, when that person goes to court, you start crawling on all fours and be begging, oh, forgive us. Oh, it was a mistake. Mistake that damages people's reputation to an irreparable level. So this is the thing. News Agency of Nigeria, a government media outlet, is responsible for this. So it's up to Prophet Omale
to pursue if you want.
Yes, to go further, to say, okay, you must pay. But we all know that even these government agencies are not properly funded. So where are they going to get this kind of money? And if you know that you've not got sufficient money to pay
damages like
or forfeiture, it is the CBN is the custodian of the Treasury single account. The Treasury single account, whatever money you keep there, does not attract any form of interest. So these people, without sufficient knowledge about issues that they like to talk about, they were imagining that even on money kept in Treasury single account, that Magu will have access to it, to the point of even having access to the interest. What rubbish can be greater than that? You know? Right. I think that this is a lesson, and hopefully an exemplary lesson will be learned. Because to fork out
such an amount,
100 million for a misdemeanor in these difficult times, even a bandit who has access to funds that they did not work for, in the real sense of the word, will not find it easy to
give out such
a huge sum of money.
All right, Deji, let me get your points on this issue. You know, from what DJ had pointed out, when in doubt, leave out. So the media themselves, the media professionals themselves, they didn't do due diligence, if I would say, in carrying out such report. But what is expected of journalists or media houses whenever they want to tell such stories like this? What are the rules that they should follow so they do not fall prey to issues of defamation and the likes?
Well, let me start by saying that if we want to be sincere with ourselves, the issue of media trial has gained unacceptable prominence. And mainly the culprits are government officials themselves in many cases. And you find out a situation where government officials themselves come out to tell you certain things, and the media also go to town with them. For example, in this case, it is a government agency, NFU, that stated that it conducted an investigation and found this money in the account of the prophet. And ordinarily, news coming from non-government agencies should be credible under a normal circumstance. Right. So for a media house to rely on such information, we cannot say, that the media house has done anything wrong. Okay. Unfortunately, because of the level of media trial that we now find taking place in our system, that is why media houses would need to do fact checking. And in this case, they could have gone to FCMB.
Right.
Their business reporter could have approached FCMB to just find out what happened and all of that. That simple check will have prevented this kind of heavy fine for none, and it will have excused the agency. However, I also want to take a lesson from this. The fact that the prophet could go to court and get justice. Because what we find out is that in many cases when this media trial goes on, maybe because the people that are being tried have also dipped their own hands in different kinds of deaths, they also do not pursue issues to conclusive end. Yeah, so in this case, I laud the prophet for going to court because he's sure of himself. And I also appreciate the fact that he did not only get compensated from NAN, but equally from FCMB that had admitted to the error. As a matter of fact, the government agency that went to town with this story was not diligent enough because the bank promptly admitted that it was an error, unfortunately, because it was too fast to just conduct media trial of individuals. That was why we are in this kind of situation. So to get out of it for media houses, because now that people are more conscious of their rights, and the media houses know that they can also lose in millions, it is better to do extra checks. We shouldn't just rely on information based on the fact that they are coming from government agencies. We should realize that agencies could have different reasons for dishing out information at any point in time. So a double check will always get the media out of that problem.
Fine. Final thoughts on this, Babajide?
There are times that even big people in government, because they want to use you, they'll give you information that is totally false. People that you've trusted over the years, you then hear, no, I trust this person, cannot lie to me. Some people do, but he has his agenda. You are not aware of his agenda. So you should still do your own checks. You should not be in a rush to just send stories. You know that even Femi Falana was accused of, in this matter. They quickly dropped the story when Falana threatened court action. Falana is not the sort of person that you accuse of what he didn't do, and he will allow you to get away with it. They quickly dropped the story. Because
they probably got in touch with him to get his own opinion.
No, he saw they didn't go for his opinion. He saw it and he wrote them. Then you said, okay, I'm going to call. They quickly dropped it. People are not patient anymore. To even go and ask you. They are not patient. They just want to put it there. Everybody is struggling for hits and all that. It's just the same way that you see people strip themselves totally naked because they want views and all that. I mean, it's a crazy world that we find ourselves. People should realize that big people sometimes set out to mislead journalists. They use us. They use us a lot. People should be conscious of that. If you are not conscious of that, then you will be used again and again and again, and that will be bad for your reputation.
Let's quickly take this call from Ikorodu. Amen. Please go ahead with your contribution. Oh dear, apologies, we lost that call. Well, that's as much you can take on this very topic we've been discussing. Let's quickly move on to our next issue, where for a long time now, the Birnin Gwari area of Kaduna State was a dreaded place due to activities of bandits. But the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, defied the odds and visited the place when the party took its campaign to the state. Tinubu, accompanied by Governor Nasir El-Rufai and other APC governors and leaders, were at the palace of the Emir of Birnin Gwari, who turbaned him as the Dankari, meaning the fearless warrior. Let's share the story with you.
Asiwaju Bola Tinubu's plane touches down at the airport in Kaduna ahead of the presidential campaign rally. He was accompanied by the governors of Plateau, Kebbi, Kano and Jigawa states, and they were received by Governor Nasir El-Rufai and some chieftains of the party. From the airport, the presidential candidates of the APC quickly embarked on a journey to Birnin Gwari, one of the affected communities by bandits' attacks. They journeyed through the deserted villages for hours. On arrival to the palace of the Emir of Birnin Gwari, the monarch appreciated Asiwaju Tinubu for being the first presidential candidate to have ever visited the community.
I welcome you.
Governor Nasir El-Rufai commended the APC presidential candidate for his fearlessness and doggedness.
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the only presidential candidate to ever come here for campaign. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he didn't come to campaign. He came because he's concerned about what he has read about insecurity in Birnin Emirate.
The presidential flag bearer of the ruling party assured the people of Gwari that it will tackle the problems of insecurity. He appealed to them to vote for APC for his administration to be able to fulfill the promise of bringing development to Nigeria.
You look left and right on our way down here. We have a great arable land. I want to honor you with the title of
the monarch banned the former governor of Lagos as the Dakaran Gwari for his fearlessness and courageous nature. Kaduna State Governor was also banned. The Emir of Gwari described Asiwaju Tinubu as a courageous, fearless and determined politician who is committed to the growth and welfare of humanity.
I cannot remember anybody, any politician candidate who came to Gwari. But not only that, who was fearless, who came, he said he want to dare. He want to dare the bandits. And who wants to say, if the road is not good, we will see it and we will correct it.
A donation of 50 million naira by the APC presidential candidate was announced by the governor of Plateau State and DJ Tinubu Shetima Campaign Council. Ola Awakon, TVC News, Kaduna.
Well, we heard the report from our correspondent, Ola Awakon, on the recent visit of the APC's presidential candidate, Bola Tinubu, to Birnin Gwari. So, BKO, during his visit, we understand Bola Tinubu promised to wipe out bandits, terrorists in Kaduna and other parts of the country if elected. But let me start with this, and to be honest, how convinced are you about this promise? Do you see this happening?
It's early days. He's not even president yet. It's difficult for me to say that he cannot do it. I believe that even in tackling banditry in Kaduna State, progress has been made. The governor has admitted it, that what we were not doing before, we are beginning to do it. We're taking the fight to these guys, you know, and we are dealing with them at this time. But the threats remain, and there is no place in the whole of Kaduna where bandits have terrorized the people as much as this Birnin Gwari area. In fact, the road, the highway is deserted because nobody wants to die. If you drive through that highway, you know that you're risking your life. Even the armed forces, on some occasions that they use that road, I remember when 8 soldiers were killed by bandits on that road. And there's a part of Birnin Gwari that even the bandits have colonized onto their own, you know. So it's testament to courage that Asiwaju could go to that place.
Right.
And honestly, as someone familiar with the terrain, I was born in Kaduna. I also did my youth service there. I know how dangerous that area is. That whole area, from the airport in Kaduna to Birnin Gwari, right up to Rafi local government in Niger State that they share boundary with. There's no part of that place that is safe. Up to even Tegina, no part of that area that is safe. And the activities of bandits in that area, those activities are constant. You know, sometimes they even clash with one another. And Saru terrorists and bandits clashing in that same Birnin Gwari area. So it's, I think he showed leadership, he showed courage by going to that place. And these are things that people do not forget easily. Remember when he decided that he was canceling his birthday celebrations and went to Kaduna to commiserate with them over the train attack. That made a big difference. That was what got Governor Rufai to begin to support him, because no one expected that he would take the action. You know, when you side with people, when you identify with people in moments of adversity. They find it difficult to forget you. They want to see how they can reward you for identifying, for sharing in their pains and all that. So that is the thing. So Asiwaju, this was another master stroke. I know how many of my northern friends who have called me to say, this man went to Birnin Gwari. This is unusual, you know, and it is true. You know that area very well. You know that this was a big risk. They could have come under mortar attack or even attack with rocket-propelled grenades.
Indeed. Now, Deji, from the point that BKO said, Tinubu, according to him, showed leadership and courage by visiting Birnin Gwari. But is that enough? We're talking about the options that needs to be explored to addressing the security challenges, bedeviling the country. What other steps needs to be explored in this regard?
He has said it. He's not yet the president. He's only campaigning to become president. And as of now, there are limited options for him as a person. And the only option he has, perhaps, is identifying with the community, which he has rightly done.
Right.
If you follow these areas' stories, you will find out that it's a place where even soldiers, are being killed by bandits, and in some communities there, in some areas, bandits even charge local farmers money before they can harvest their produce. I think about 2 or 3 months ago, there was a report to that effect where the monarch was appealing to government to help in combating that problem. The farmers had to pay with grains and all of that and money. They charged them about 12 million naira for them to be able to go to their farm. So you can see that that is not a good place to be at all. And the fact that he could go there, for now, that is what we can see. And that is what we can talk about. He went there. And as of now, he's the only presidential candidate that has visited that area. So that is what we can talk about.
Right.
Then it is when all things being equal, if it emerges as the president, then we can be talking about asking for more. Because you have gone there, you have made promises. Now we can say, okay, how do you go about implementing the promise? But you see, that is a step ahead in that you have gone, you have made promise ahead of others who have not even gone there or make any promise. So it is only based on the promise that he has made that people can seek further demands, yes, should he emerge as the president in 2023.
Abajide, if we're to look at this matter on your own side of it, let's forget, talking about the visit of the APC's presidential candidate. We know that some of the factors fueling banditry in some parts of the country are poverty, unemployment, and the likes. But what would you suggest, taking a cue from the pointers you've raised so far, what would you suggest should be the focus of an incoming government, with these underlying factors propelling issues of banditry, terrorism, and the likes in these areas that we know of today?
I think that the level of poverty should not push people to crime. It makes no sense. And poverty is prevalent across the length and breadth of our country. So no region of the country has monopoly of poverty. We cannot tolerate criminalities at the rate at which we are seeing them being carried out in our country. I would want to see a new administration recruit more policemen, recruit more soldiers, because we don't have enough to tackle the challenges facing us. Look at Birnin, Gwari, very big, very big. Most of the villages have been deserted. People have fled. We need to bring people back to their ancestral homes, and they won't come back unless they are guaranteed of security. I used to, in the 90s, I used to travel through that road. It was a sprawling community, but bandits have turned it to something else. On a particular day, they even went to the police station, killed policemen, and looted their weapons in that same town. I remember asking the correspondent to go and do a story, and he did the story. He actually did this pistol camp standing on broken rocks in the police station in Birnin, Gwari that was destroyed by bandits.
Final thoughts.
So utter lawlessness.
Right.
If we do not increase significantly the number of soldiers, number of our armed forces and policemen, we cannot defeat crime in our country. Because already they are overstretched at this time, and we just need to recruit more people and then equip them sufficiently.
Right.
Honestly, if we can do these two, we will see a marked improvement.
Indeed. And let's quickly go on a very quick break. You're still on to Journalist Hangout. We have more on this very issue. Stay with us.
The Jam'iyyat al-Ansar Din Tijaniya, under the leadership of His Spiritual Eminence Sheikh Muhammad Mahi Ibrahim Inyas, Grand Khalifa Tijaniya Worldwide, announces the celebration of the 5th Nigeria World Maulid Anniversary in honor of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, with the theme, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, an epitome of religion and governance. Special guest of honor, His Excellency Alhaji Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC. Chairman of the occasion, His Royal Highness Alhaji Yahya Abubakar, the Esunufe and Chairman, Niger State Council of Chiefs. Chief host, His Excellency Abubakar Sani Bello, Executive Governor of Niger State. Date, 23rd Jamada Thani, 1444 after the Hijrah, equivalent to December 17, 2022. Venue, in Apollo Club Complex, Niger State. Announcer, Sheikh Muhammad Nafi Umina for the local organizing committee.
Doctor is the before they say. Sounds the people they shout. Even from North Hausa they say. All our country people they talk with one voice. Them say na Asiwaju Bola Tinubu them want as president of Nigeria for this president election.
Asiwaju Bola Tinubu na the man wey we all know and see all the good work in they do for we country, especially when him be governor of Lagos State.
Now him God use turn Lagos to the best state for Nigeria.
Today, many people all over Nigeria they like to go Lagos, go settle down for business and better life.
All because of the good work when Bola Tinubu do.
People of Nigeria, as Asiwaju do for Lagos, now so him ready to do am for the whole country.
Vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu for president of Nigeria. Vote Kashim Shettima as vice president. Vote APC, the party we get broom.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has announced the introduction of a new series of 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1000 Naira banknotes to be launched on December 15, 2022. These new banknotes will circulate side by side with the current 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1000 Naira banknote, which will cease to be legal tender on January 31, 2023. Banks are now open from Monday to Saturday to accept customers' deposits. So, hurry to your banks to deposit only 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1000 Naira banknotes in your possession. To make it seamless, the CBN has suspended bank charges on all deposits made during this period, and there is no limit on how much an individual can deposit. Remember, the current 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1000 Naira banknotes remain legal tender until January 31, 2023. Do not reject it, but ensure the banknotes get to your bank before the deadline of January 31, 2023. This message is from the Central Bank of Nigeria.
This place will have a recreational park that is designed to make life comfortable. Wellness is key, and we are putting this place that will help people to, keep up on their health where they could burn their fat. And the timeline for this project is estimated to start and end within 18 months. But however, it starts in phases. The first phase is to get the space secured and gated, which is done.
Mowe is a growing city, and if you are very, very smart, then you realize that the Lagos-Ibadan expressway that is being developed is going to throw Mowe open furthermore.
People that have gone ahead of us have great investment here. And even way in the 90s, even before we thought about coming here. So I think it's a good idea, Iderade coming here.
The Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, this is to improve fertilizer in the country. In 2015, it was established, in 2016, through which the number of plants increased in the country from 8 to about 200. Now, as a result of the intervention, the annual fertilizer production rose from 300,000 metric tons per year to about 7 million metric tons. And then the National Fertilizer Quality Control also has been doing the job to make sure, again, the fertilizer is of good quality.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store.
It's not your regular show. It's an online interactive session where we share my views on the everyday issues that cut across politics, security, health, current affairs, governance, and so much more. I am passionate about our country. I choose to support any conversation geared towards building a better Nigeria. I am Babajide Kolaji Otitoju. Join me every Saturday on TVC News YouTube channel as I discuss Nigeria and the world at large on the show, Issues with Jide.
Welcome back. You're still on to Journalist Hangout, and we're discussing the visit of of APC's presidential candidate at Birnin Gwari in Kaduna State. So we're discussing other issues pertaining to banditry and kidnapping. And Babajide, you are giving us your position on how you think, this matter can be addressed, which has been linked to poverty and unemployment. What are your final thoughts on this regard?
Oh, the point that I'm making is we cannot defeat crime in our country given the fact that we do not have enough law enforcement officers. We need more soldiers. As I was saying yesterday, I doubt if we've ever put up to 60,000 troops in the Northeast region. And in the Northeast is where you find a local government that is bigger than a whole state, just one local government. The local government like Damboa, for example, is bigger than all but one of the states in the Southeast. It's only Enugu State that you could say is bigger than it. It's bigger than Ekiti State. That's one local government in Borno State. Damboa, which is in Borno South. I also think that there is no need for the proliferation of security agencies. Where we have to merge them, we can merge them. It's been suggested in the past that even road safety could merge with the police. I don't know how feasible that is, but we have the Peace Corps people pushing so hard for them to be recognized as a security agency. Instead of having proliferation of those security outfits, we can merge them or give them more strength. We have civil defense. And I don't think that is the solution. let's merge them. Ashwaju, for example, in his manifesto, talked about coming up with rangers to police our forests. You know, they will be combing the forest and all that. In Borno State, they have what we call agro rangers. Those agro rangers protect farmers, enabling farmers to be able to come and work on their fields and all that. So Ashwaju already thinks that the solution would be to recruit rangers, for forest guards, or rangers, as the case may be. Those forest guards who be protecting the forest, and the forest that we have abandoned for too long. Look at Sambisa and the rest of them. We abandoned them. We didn't care about what was happening there. And Boko Haram sat inside the forest
and took over,
grooming his men, and it became their fortress. You know, so look, see people's houses, they abandoned. So there are many steps that politicians can take, the incoming administration can take to defeat terrorism as well as armed banditry, which is spreading rapidly in the northwest. I think also that improved welfare would make many policemen to want to lay down their lives and fight for their country. A lot of policemen get killed every year. What do we do for their wives and their children?
Families.
We abandon them, we kick them out of the barracks as soon as it happens. So these things will not encourage these policemen, these security operatives to want to give their best, because they know that if they die in the process, there's no insurance, they will simply be forgotten. You know, so it's there's a whole lot that can be done to engender an improvement in the way our country is secure. You know, so, but I think that all the candidates need to take security seriously, because who knows who amongst them will carry the day in the election. We don't know. God is God who knows who will win, but they all have to come up with a good plan, because insecurity is the biggest problem confronting us as a nation now. It's even bigger than the economy, because agriculture contributes a huge chunk of our GDP. But a situation in which people can't access their farms, they won't be able to give their best. Production will go down, and food prices will go up. You know, which in itself can also precipitate insecurity.
So, Labisi, what are your final thoughts on this matter, even if you're going to, proffer solutions, perhaps, to addressing this security challenge that faces us?
Well, I'm going to look at it from two perspectives, looking at the cause and the effects, because I believe that insecurity is like a symptom, an effect of a problem, and that problem is majorly inadequate investment in social capital in the country, and that cuts across all parts of the country. So I will look at a situation whereby the incoming government does more of social investment in the area of education and curbing unemployment rates.
Education on the part of the masses or on the part of the security personnel?
No, I'm talking about the masses. I'm talking about the people in general. For the security forces, it's like the controlling the symptom. The main cause, the real reason why there is poverty is what I'm talking about now. We need to tackle the problems that precipitate poverty. And one of those problems is probably lack of education, lack of employment opportunities, even for those who are educated. And when I talk about education now, we are not talking about primary, secondary, university, or colleges of education. We have different levels of education. We have the technical schools, for example, that has been neglected over the years. It is not everybody that can actually proceed to higher institutions. Yeah. So all of those that have been put in place, even according to our educational system, the 6334, which actually makes it possible for us to go, for people to pass through different levels depending on their ability. I think we need to enforce this more. We need to reduce the number of out-of-school children in the country, because it is not by accident that the region where we have more of out-of-school children is also the region that we are having the higher level of insecurity. So there must be a correlation which must be attended to, because if we don't invest in this social capital, we will find ourselves also investing more in fighting crime, banditry, terrorism, and all of that. And that won't all go well for us as a nation. So whoever is coming in, and when I talk about social investment, we are not talking about devoting certain amount of money to social security, whereby you just go and give people money. No. We are talking about investing in the reason. And this investment, there must be indices for measuring their growth and whether it is working or not. We should be able to tell ourselves that now we have reduced the number of school children by so percentage in 1 year. This is our projection for another year. We have created employment, so number of employment, and this is our projection and all of that. I believe if we actually go about development, the way the developed countries that we know are doing it is going to impact positively on us as a nation, and it's likely to reduce the level of insecurity and banditry that we are facing now, and also the fact that crime is crime, and like you rightly put it, you cannot justify criminality. Punishing those that are found to be culprits is also very important, because when you have a system where those who commit crime get away with it, the likelihood that it will encourage others to join is also there. So we are talking about tackling the problems of unemployment, out-of-school children, punishing those who have been found to be guilty, and also improving on our police and other military base in order to actually tackle areas where these problems are.
That's a fine place to leave it. But let's also not forget, it is also behoves on us as well to also elect the right leaders that will pursue this to a logical conclusion. Well, let's quickly move on to our next issue of discussion, where political season comes with a lot of name-calling, accusations, and bruised ego. Bayo Ononuga and Dele Alake of the All Progressives Congress Presidential Campaign Council denied allegations of bullying the free press leveled against them by This Day and the media. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Guild of Editors has tasked editors to uphold the tenets of journalism and be professional while reporting election campaigns. Babajide, I know this matter has gone a little bit messy over time between the two parties concerned, but if from your own perspective as a journalist that has, with so many years of experience on the job, how would you respond to how the issue has been, taken, the dimensions it has taken over time between the APC presidential campaign and, of course, the media concerned? How would you respond to how things have taken over time?
I think journalists must realize that they are first and foremost journalists. If I sit here and just spend all the time criticizing the candidate of the PDP, the presidential candidate of the PDP, people would then ask, what is going on? We do not know you for this. I mean, to come here every day and be attacking Atiku.
One particular candidate.
There's no way that Atiku's campaign committee won't feel that, oh, we have an enemy here in Jide. And even the TV station will also be seen as an enemy. And it's not as if it's impossible to do, but it's a choice that we have to make. That politicians are politicians. We are not politicians. We've told ourselves that we won't be politicians. Therefore, our duty is to be fair to all parties. Yesterday we were discussing, as Atiku went to Jos, Tinubu went to Kaduna, both of them, we discussed both of them on Politics Tonight. We can't be seen to be attacking one of them. No one can say, oh, journalist Hangout has made a habit of running down the PDP candidate. No one. Because we can easily ask them to produce clips, and people watch this program. Not, we can talk about the fact that, okay, there's crisis between the parties, but not that you take on a candidate and be attacking that candidate consistently. When you do that, even if you have valid grounds, once you make a habit of attacking an individual, it sends a message to the other people whose duty is to make the candidate marketable, that you do not want them. And the issue of, I know that the issue of debate, I know that has been really a motive during this particular season. But it is already a tradition. I don't buy the idea, but it's already a tradition in our country that presidential front runners don't like to go and do debates. And the facts are there. Obasanjo, you can't say Obasanjo cannot speak good English, or that he does not have clarity of thought. But Obasanjo refused to go into a debate with Falai and the rest of them. But it didn't stop him from winning the election.
Let me hold you there. Apologies, I have to cut you now because we need to go on a very quick break. You're still on to Journalist Hangout. We'll have more discussions on this very topic. Stay with us.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has announced the introduction of a new series of 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1000 Naira banknotes to be launched on December 15, 2022. These new banknotes will circulate side by side with the current 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1000 Naira banknotes, which will cease to be legal tender on January 31, 2023. Banks are now open from Monday to Saturday to accept customers' deposits. So, hurry to your banks to deposit only 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1000 Naira banknotes in your possession. To make it seamless, the CBN has suspended bank charges on all deposits made during this period, and there is no limit on how much an individual can deposit. Remember, the current 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1000 Naira banknotes remain legal tender until January 31, 2023. Do not reject it, but ensure the banknotes get to your bank before the deadline of January 31, 2023. This message is from the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Only God can do this. He's a wonder-working God. Only God can do this.
Praise the Lord. Chosen is 20 years this year, and by the special grace of God, the counsel of the Lord stands forever. It is written, I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And what God has determined shall be done. I want to let you know that this is the 20 years of existence of the Lord chosen. So come, let us give thanksgiving to the Lord. Let us appreciate him. Let us praise him for what he has done. For no one can do this. Only God can do what we have seen. To him be the glory. I invite you to come on Sunday, 18th of December. Come with all your friends. There is going to be plenty of blessings, spiritually and otherwise. May God bless you.
How important is comfort to you? Is it as important as the day you discovered that self-love is the start of good life? Here is a comfort that your self-love, Iderade, transit into your serenity. The opportunity awaits you on this peace of mind as you pay in installments of 24 months with initial deposit of 500,000 naira. Serenity at its finest.
Everyone has a Chivita this season. What's your Chivita?
You're still on to Journalist Hangout, and we'll discussion the issue between the State newspaper and Arise with, of course, the APC presidential campaign. So, BKO, you were giving your final thoughts on how journalists should, handle situations.
I was saying that, that if you constantly, you make a habit of picking on a particular candidate, even if it's for the right reasons, people will come to the conclusion, especially his own minders, that you do not want that candidate to win. We cannot... Nigeria is not the US, where the CNN just took on Trump. They made up their minds that they will fight Trump till the end. In our country, if you do that, people will take it personal. And people will make you to realize that you are taking a big risk. So, and I'm saying that in our country, presidential front runners have this habit of not wanting to debate. It's not a new thing. Obasanjo, they refused to debate against Olufalaye. It didn't stop him from winning. Jonathan decided to debate against himself. And the time when he debated against himself, he lost. Buhari, when Buhari decided to debate with Shekarau, he didn't win the election. The year when he came back and refused to debate, he won. So presidential front runners in our country don't like debating. So this is not Ashwaju that started it. I am for debate. Any day, if you want to debate with me, whether you're a lawyer or not, I'm ready. But if a presidential candidate says he doesn't want to do debate, I cannot hold him by his neck and say, you must come and debate. That is the thing. So, and for us as journalists, we have to try our best to stay in the middle. I've said it before. I will not stay here and be dressing down Atiku and all that. I won't. I've never done it.
Olabisi, your thoughts on this issue?
Well, I think in other parts of the world, let me use the example of US, for example. We have media houses that lean towards parties based on ideology, and they actually come out to endorse candidates for elections. So, which means that it is not out of place for a media house to have a preferred candidate in any election circle. And but what I find intriguing in our own country is the fact that media houses have not been bold enough to come out to endorse their preferred candidates. If you have media houses that tell you that this is our candidate, then you can expect anything from that media house. Because if your opponent is my candidate and that is who I am endorsing, you don't expect me to also do things that are nice to your own candidate.
But you can't lie against that person.
No, I'm just saying that you don't expect me to say things that are nice about your candidate. So that one will have been given. And the advantage of that is that even the public, the listening public knows where you are coming from. And so they will be able to scrutinize whatsoever you are doing based on your stand. So you won't be able to deceive anybody. So for me, I think that probably our media outlets should begin to endorse. So when you endorse, we know where you belong, and we know whatever you say, then we know that
and then whereas you are targeting an individual.
So,
all right, that's a fine
don't pretend to be objective. Whereas
Right.
everyone knows that your heart is an individual that you are targeting, and you have your preferred candidates.
Well, that's a
So
right
that's
time
the
place
thing.
to leave it. We cannot go further than this discussions. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I'd like to thank my guests in the studio, Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Olabisi Deji Fulutule. Thank you very much for your insights on the program this evening. Well, join us again tomorrow for another episode of the show. You can watch a repeat broadcast tonight at 11. Join us again on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30. And also we are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Many thanks for watching. I am Esther Makwariola. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
My name is Femi Adebayo. This holiday season, StarTimes is taking us to a better level. You can step up your family entertainment with the StarTimes upgrade promo. You recharge 2 months on Nova Bouquet and get upgraded to Basic or Smart Bouquet. Recharge 2 months on Basic or Smart Bouquet, you get upgraded to Classic or Super Bouquet. And if you recharge 2 months on Classic or Super Bouquet, you get 10 days free on your subscription. This upgrade automatically qualifies you for a weekly draw to win 55 inches smart TV, PS systems, home appliances, and more.